Hey guys, welcome back to Teen Muscle Radio and episode number 40. So today we are very lucky to be joined by Daniel Luke from Team Disciplines, which is an online coaching service which he has been running for quite a long period of time. Dan's been in the industry for a little bit longer than me, but I know that he's actually an avid listener of the podcast, which is, for me, it's an honor. And like reaching out to Dan and realizing that Dan had been following the podcast and following me for a little bit and speaks sort of highly of me online as well, which is, you know, massively appreciated. And I think we've developed a good relationship through the social media outlets that we have. And I'm very excited to have Dan on today. We're going to be discussing two different topics really, but they sort of intertwine into the whole idea of the pressure of the bodybuilding industry and the subculture of bodybuilding within the fitness industry, and how as coaches we deal with athletes across the board and their different struggles, and how we again sometimes get to the point where it does tend to affect our processes and how we respond as athletes, and whether we decide to sort of compete on stage or whether the sort of the external pressures or the idea of stepping on stage becomes a bit of a different reality. So Dan, before we get into things, give the listeners just a little bit of a background on yourself, what you do, and where you come from, and why you do what you do today.
Well, thanks for that intro, buddy. That's quite flattering. But yeah, you're right. No, I have been an avid listener of your podcast personally. And I think the reason that I kind of not blow you up so much, but appreciate what you do and follow what you do is because there's nobody else your age basically doing that. Everything from your marketing, your content, the message you're putting out there is correct, right, and you're just doing a really good job. So even though you are younger than me, you'll be way ahead of me by the time you get to my age, buddy. So don't worry about that. But I started off just doing your standard level 3 PT qualification, thinking that I was going to get 40 people paying me £30 an hour in my first week of coaching and whatnot. That was actually short-lived because I ended up taking up and quitting PT, taking up a manager's position at Pure Gym within 6 months because PT just wasn't what I thought it was. I had a 6-week qualification where I thought, basically I'm a PT now, but really I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And it was only until I invested in myself after leaving PT to start being as a manager's job. Because obviously it was just security. I'll be honest, I just wanted the security. The PT wasn't paying. And this is why now when people think that they're wanting to pursue a passion and going into a career, I just tell them to think twice, because the way I look at it is I like chocolate and I also like sex, but it doesn't mean I'm going to pursue a career in porn or chocolate. Do you know what I mean? So it's something that I do talk to people a lot about, and it is worth it, but it does take time. You know, I'm sure you'll know, you've not got where you are right now from overnight. You've grafted. You don't do one-to-one anymore simply because you started there, but you've now progressed and you've grafted until you've established this reputation, so to speak.
Sure.
But then to cut it short, basically I was in the gym. An Optimum nutrition athlete came up to me and said, "You look all right, you should do a show." So I reached out to my first coach, who was Jamie Dorigo, and he prepped me.
I remember that. That's where I first spotted you. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was my first show, and I dieted down, and I was on stage at 175 pounds, I think it was. That's a dice 175, but for somebody who's 6'2", it's not carrying a lot of muscle. Coming off the back of that, I've then prepped for numerous shows, and then most recently just competing in the PCA. And during that period, I've gone from starting back as a one-to-one personal trainer to then making what is now Team Disciplined. And Team Disciplined's somewhat become a online comp prep coaching service, but it never really started as that. And this podcast and why we're on right now is kind of the transition of why it's not solely going to be just competition prep either.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, no, awesome. Yeah, great intro. And I think, the first topic that you covered there with the sort of the 6 week personal trainer course, man, like I could tell you the amount of times I get kids messaging me saying, what PT course do I do, and then how much money do I make in like when I get a job. And I'm like, mate, I literally cannot tell you how much money you're going to make. You're going to make as much money as you're willing to put in work, and that's
Yeah,
literally as simple as it is. Because whether you go into a pure gym nowadays, whether you go into the gym, or whether you go into sort of more of a private facility like I think you're at the moment, which is where I was at. I was at sort of more of it was semi-private, so people could
yeah,
have memberships to an extent, but the majority of the people that came into the gym environment were just clients. Whereas
yeah,
obviously in the gym, pure gym, you have recreational people that are coming in that are just on memberships. And
yeah.
you can build up, like I know people with the gym and the pure gym that build up giant client
Yeah, of
bases, like
course, of course.
ridiculous. But they do that because they're good and they keep getting results. They keep churning out results, or they have the infrastructure to set that up. And you can't do
Yeah,
that without work. And like you said, like from a knowledge aspect, like man, the 6 week course just doesn't teach you jack shit. It really
no,
doesn't. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, what's the best one? Where do you learn the most?" And they think that they're going to become this magical personal trainer with all this knowledge at the end of it, and they're really not. Like sticking on that for just a little bit, where do you think like you've learnt the most out of your and like just to be a better coach? What has taught you the most?
going through the process myself and working with other people who have been there is by
Yeah,
far the best experiences that you can do. Like if you understand what you're trying to preach to a client, see, like the guys who are in pure gym and they're growing successful businesses, they might be successful simply because they understand their niche as well. They
yeah,
might not be dropping transformations like me and you are, but they
yeah,
don't need to be because they're working with day-to-day people who just want to feel good for that 1 hour, leave the gym and have some accountability there.
yeah,
Whereas what we do is a little bit different. We produce a result and we get paid off the back of that result. So
yeah,
it's a little bit different to what a personal trainer is. But as far as a 6 week qualification, like I'll be honest, if supersets and TRX didn't make the client tired, then they'd be doing burpees and kettlebells because I'd literally be running out of ideas and I'd have no session plan, I'd have no structure. And looking back now, I think that's why I'm so passionate about helping PTs or coaching PTs or putting content
yeah,
out there that'll help them because I think I'm getting paid for that, and I just think, fuck, like
mm,
it's not something that I want to see. Like I went to a local gym that's got personal trainers there the other day, and it literally I just had to leave, and like I came home to Dom, and I was just like people just don't give a shit. Like they're just
yeah,
watching clients, poor form, poor technique. Like they're not. I've picked up one to one because I've recently just started one to one again,
yeah. You have, yeah, yeah,
but that wasn't a necessity for me. That was because I started to work with such people like yourself and things who know how to train. I kind of lost the approach. I kind of forgot how normal day to day people think, move, and train and things like that. And I
yeah,
wanted a more hands on approach to like just see how people like their thought process, they see their movement, how they train. And
yeah.
sometimes it's good because
It's
when you
fun,
give
yeah,
it, yeah, it's fun as well. But when you give a plan to a client, sometimes you might be thinking I've had it before where I've sent out plans. It's literally the perfect plan.
yeah,
Like you could follow it, and I know with your training execution, your logbook, and everything like that, you would kill it, and you
yeah,
would progress rapidly. But then
yeah.
I see this other person, I'm thinking you're not changing, and then it's
Mm.
only till I see how they train and their intensity and like their form during training and things like that, I think right, that's precisely why you're not training because you have no idea how to recruit a muscle, stimulate, and apply tension. It's as
Yeah,
simple as that.
yeah,
Um, but going back to the original question was simply working with coaches. So I've worked with everybody from Dusty Hanshaw, had a
oh
short
wow,
period with him,
cool,
yeah, and like most recently Jordan Peters, and
yeah,
everybody who I have actually chosen to work with has been fantastic, and it's been different each and every time, which is what I like because I've always produced the same result, but
mm.
no prep has ever been the same for me.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's no one set way. How you prep, how I prep people is completely different, but the result should technically be the same.
yeah.
So,
No,
um,
I like that a lot. I think that's something that me looking at the way that I've progressed and the way that I've learned. Obviously, I totally agree with you with regards to sort of the coaching process and coaching athletes. And I think that through you working with several coaches, I really think that's cool because you're learning the process of coaching. You're learning the art of coaching more than someone that would just be coaching themselves and going through the process as they would normally. Because I learn a lot when I see a post or when I see something that some coach is saying about the way that they coach, the art of how they're coaching. Or sometimes I'll talk to clients of other coaches and I'll be like, oh, okay, that's how they do stuff. And then sometimes I'll look at my own stuff and I'll sort of reverse engineer it and I'll be like, is mine better or is it different or is that a way that I could do stuff to improve things? And there's plenty of things, like you say, that I look at that other coaches do that I think I don't agree with that, or I don't see the benefit in that. And I also look at some of the ways that they do their processes in terms of their check-in process and things like that. And I was very lucky, like the first time that I got coached, the check-in process, the way you updated your training, the way you updated your nutrition was all very, very good. It was all the data that they needed. And, well, it could have been a little bit more. It could have been updated. It could have been video check-ins, etc. It could have been something else. But that's how, and this is what I talked about a lot with Luke Johnson when he came on my podcast, is the idea of adapting as a coach. So, like, you learn, you adapt, you learn what your client needs, you adapt it, you make a better process, and that's what you say. Like, you know, you briefly harped on the fact that I'm younger than you and that I'll be ahead of you when I'm your age. That to me sounds like a huge compliment. But again, it's partly because, like, I got into this really, really young, so I've had time to adapt. So by the time, like, if you're like an 18-year-old and you adapt all the way up till you're 25, 28, like, you'll be in a better position than someone that started when they're 25, for example.
Yeah, but the thing that you're saying there as well, you're looking at the longevity in it, which is what a lot of people don't do. That they want it now, they want the next best thing, and they want it all. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't look, like you just said, you're already looking at when you're 28, how far you're going to progress there. Not a lot of people do that. And I think how, like, just touch on it, but like the service that you provide is like what I see. It's not something that like I'd need, but it's amazing what you can provide because everybody else is not me. You could write my diet on the back of a piece of a kitchen roll, like toilet paper, and I'd be able to adhere to it. But what you're doing is you're providing a business and you're providing something unique to the market that people want to be a part of. And not only that, you're getting results with it as well.
Yeah.
Like my content's nowhere near as good as yours.
I think this is all like again, it's this idea of comparison and be like, oh well, I look at other people's content and I think that's better than mine. That's more like I'll look at like Renaissance periodization with like Mike Israetel and I'll think, man, like, I still don't quite get. And I'll be honest, like I've said to Steve Hall, like Revive Stronger, who works with Mike a lot, and I've said to him, I still sometimes don't get this idea of reaching your MRV, going back to your minimum effective dose, and I try to understand it, I try to make use of it, but something that I think is really, really key, something that you do really, really well, especially with your vlogs and your videos, is that you only discuss stuff that you know and you feel comfortable doing, and that's where you should be at, because that knowledge is exponential. It'll keep going up and up and up and up and up. But if you make a video, that one video that you make where you make giant fuck-ups across the board and you put it out, and I can see it in people, as soon as they talk on a topic that they don't know about, they just wither away. The confidence in their voice just withers down. Like, if I was to do a video all on like maximum recoverable volume and it's all its intricacies, I would flake and it would be a shit video, and I know that someone would comment on it asking me a question and I wouldn't be able to back myself up. It's the same with like any status that I put out. I've had people, and it's the same topic now and now again, about this idea of older bodybuilders not like regressing, and I think that actually older natural bodybuilders can continue to progress and make better physiques, and I get it all the time, the argument that they can't, and I keep arguing it back, and that's a fair point, because I've got things to prove that, and I've got the knowledge to back that up. And one other topic before we move on, Dan, that you really mentioned that was really, really cool is the idea of you giving me a training program and me going away and doing it, and you knowing that I was going to do it well. Now, I love analogies. I made the analogy yesterday of when a coach doesn't look at training data. So when a coach doesn't look at the client's logbook, essentially. Now, I personally, and I don't know what you do, I'm sure that you potentially do look at training data, but I as a coach look at training data but I don't only look at that, because this is another side note of the analogy that I made. It's like a pupil taking a test home from a teacher and doing the test and then not giving the test back for it to be marked, because if the teacher hasn't seen the test, the pupil doesn't have, the teacher doesn't have a clue how knowledgeable the pupil is and what they need to work on. So if you don't see training data, you don't know how to give feedback, and you don't know how to get the client to improve. That's the number one thing. The side note of the analogy is if the teacher doesn't have a clue as to how the pupil is doing the test, he could be going home and cheating. He could be going home and getting a more knowledgeable girl from next door to come over and do the test with him. It's the same with form and execution. So like if you take a movement, you say go and do a squat 4 sets of 8, and they do 4 sets of 8 above parallel shit form, but they progress that, or goes from great form to slowly crap form, you've effectively passed the test on paper, right?
Yeah,
but you've cheated
exactly,
because you've made it easier. So, I think the importance of data in that regard is huge, and I'm not sure that how you work with that. Do you get client videos in terms of form, or do you look at their data, and do you sort of initially give them any videos or advice on form, and how do you work with clients in regards to execution online?
Being totally honest, I'll be able to tell a client inside out from when they originally send their starting images to me. As soon as they send their consultation and their starting images, I'll be able to tell if they train effectively, how effectively, and how long they've trained for, simply by looking at their physique. If their physique isn't dense, it hasn't got no muscle tissue, or it has got muscle tissue in specific areas but not so much in the others, like if they're holding more fat in areas and things like that, generally, like the days of the formulas and everything like that are out the window for me. I'll literally be able to look at a woman and a female and be like, right, you need X amount of protein, fat, and carbs, feel like. But in regards to training technique, I always advise clients to be logging the lifts. Yeah. Always. Like, getting to do so is a little bit harder, but again, during their check-in process, if a client, like say we've got a client in off-season, if they're not filling out, and if they're not, like, the measurements, for example, as well, because obviously measurements are something else that I track.
Sure.
If measurements aren't increasing, but calorie intake is increasing, things like that, it's like there's something going wrong there. And it's something that I touched on, where exactly what you just touched on. They might be progressing a lift, but they're not progressing a muscle. And that could be just due to egotistical training, where people go in on Monday, they do bench press, but they actually do a rear delt, lat, tricep, front delt, and then chest press. Because there's that much other muscles recruited during the press that the chest is actually not having all the tension on it. So they might be progressing that lift, but they're not actually progressing the specific muscle. Yeah. So it's just down to them, but helping them, like, for a client to understand how to train, it does take time, and that's where I feel like online coaching struggles sometimes, because if we offer an 8-week or 12-week package, like, what are we going to do in those 8 to 12 weeks if you are that poor experience, like, if you do lack that experience in the gym and whatnot? Like, you can only progress so much. Some people, they just struggle. Like, they struggle to understand. Like, have you ever tried to teach a day-to-day person a straight leg deadlift?
Oh, it's the worst thing ever. Like, no hip hinges. Hip hinges are just horrible.
It's bad, but like, they pay you, but for results, to be beasted in the gym. They want results and all this, but really what they should be paying you for is just movement sometimes. Like, it's not exactly, because that's what's going to pay off long term for that particular client. Yeah. So logbooks are important, measurements are important. If you could see what I'm seeing right now, AJ, can I just lift this laptop up?
I'm trying not to get
Dom's trying to sneak past the podcast.
This is becoming a regular. This is becoming a regular occurrence. In the last episode, Paul Revela's wife was crawling on the floor to give him a note.
Got halfway through that one, so I've not finished that one yet. So,
that's brilliant. That's a brilliant addition. Anyway, I think what you were saying in terms of form and execution. Something I was thinking about throughout that chat, which was great, and I think that I really do agree. And something that we actually talked about in Jordan Peters' podcast is that he harps on about the idea of just like not spending money on supplements when you're a newbie trainer, and actually just investing in a really, really good coach. Same thing goes for, I'll have young people inquire because I'm young and people can relate to me. This is the idea of like the criteria for an online client, and this is why I usually do a consultation call, or I always do a consultation call before they sign up, so I get to know where they're at in their training career. And it tends to be that you'll need at least 1 year of solid training before you can take someone online, primarily because they just need to know movements. They need to know how to do things well. They need to know how to execute a squat, a deadlift, etc. Because there's only so much you can do via video. That it gets to the point where you can only make this little tweak, and then you want to get hands-on, like you said. Teaching a straight leg deadlift is horrible for a general population client. You have to go through loads of drills to get them to shift their hips back in the right manner, keep their back straight. They have to do so many things, because otherwise every time you do go to a straight leg deadlift, they just turn it into a fucking squat, and they just bend the knees, and it's just like, it's just horrendous. But one side question that I did have on that is that if you do see someone on Instagram that you coach and they use the hashtag Team Disciplined, they put up an exercise and it looks shit, or you see it on their story and it just looks bad and it's poorly performed, how do you intervene? What do you do? And how do you say it in a manner that doesn't come across as you're being a dick, basically?
I'm probably not the best to seek advice up in this area, because I probably do come across as a dick. Simply because I'll literally just message them and be like, and just straight to the point. I'll just tell them what they're doing wrong, how they can apply it, and how they can make it better. It depends. Sometimes I get. Do you
have any regular issues with this?
To be honest, I don't. Okay. Like, it's not so, like, if I do search the hashtag Team Discipline, generally it's just like selfies, and the occasional workout videos are on there. They are all right. But if there are issues, I kind of can guess which clients it's going to be, because I still do work with people who have competed multiple times, and they're pretty experienced. Like, I can literally give them a plan, and every Sunday or whatever day their check-in is, they'll come back to me, feedback, they'll get their amendments, and then literally they'll be on the way, they're done. Whereas other people just need a little bit more nurturing, a little bit more babying, so to speak. And I kind of know that if they're trying to grow their social medias and whatnot, and they're putting content online, then I kind of know that it might most likely will come from them. So I'll just drop them an inbox on Instagram. And if I need to, I've got a Facebook group, and I'll just either record Dom doing an exercise, or I'll record an exercise, and I'll just throw it in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's probably it is important, and like you said, the fact that you're being honest with the client, that's what earns like us respect, like in the long term. Because I've been through what every other personal trainer's been through, and this is why I talk about, like, I've been in the position where listen, I will help you with your goal, trust me, like I will get you to with your goal. But really, I'm just thinking, I need this paycheck, and I want to help this person as much as I can, and that's what a lot of PTs do nowadays. But now I'm in a position where I'm not like that, because I've invested into myself, and I've invested into my own training and been on courses, and I've invested time with other people.
Yeah.
It's like I can speak openly about this now. Do you know what I mean? So like you were saying, Jordan said they need to invest in a coach to help them. Yeah, they do. They need to invest in the right coach as well, because if they're walking to a pure gym, they're not going to be getting they might not be getting the best coaching that they need for those particular exercises and whatnot, because they might be thinking like how I used to think, or how PTs still do think.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you still got fucking people on your Facebook now who have PT at the end of the name, and Monday to Thursday they're putting out posts saying sign up, and then Friday they're putting a picture of a pint saying stag with the lads or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you can tell it is frustrating though, because I have people like in my gym that literally will come up to me and say, like, I've seen your stuff online, you're getting great results with these clients, and and they're struggling to get results, and that the reason for that is quite simple. They haven't got the infrastructure set up. It shocks me how many people that PT that are stacked full of clients that are making a ton of cash just don't have infrastructure. They have nothing. They don't have check-ins. All they do is they see their client for an hour, they're off. They might get an occasional WhatsApp. The guys that are killing it in PT are the guys that have the infrastructure of the best online coaches combined with the PT hour. That's it. Like, they have the stuff outside, because if you don't have that, you will just literally flop. And you may well retain your clients. There's plenty of people out there that are willing to pay 40 quid an hour to come see you. You might just be an awesome people person, and you might just like hold on to clients because they like you and they like seeing you for that hour. And you know, if you're playing to your strengths with that, then perfect. Like, you're killing it, but you're not killing it in terms of getting results. And if that's what you want, that's probably going to be actually the most rewarding thing that you're going to see out of your job, is creating results and is pumping them out. I think another thing that you did mention a little bit ago, in terms of people thinking that, you know, we work with, and I'm sure that you work with more sort of people that don't have sort of any ideas of competing in the future as well, especially more one-to-one, of course. But I think the reason why, personally, people think that I'm getting a lot more people now that will ask me, AJ, I'm really interested in your coaching, but it seems to be that you only work with competitors. So, like, do you not work with quote unquote normal people? And the answer, like, I work with a lot of quote unquote normal people at the moment, or non-competitors. And the only difference is, in my eyes, is that they both want to be the best version of themselves. They both want to improve their physique. Just one wants to get in trunks or a bikini, and one doesn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Amen. Amen. Fucking hell, the smile on my face when you said that, mate. Honestly, that is the nail on the head. And that's the same problem that I had once upon a time as well. People were like, do you only work with people who compete, or do you still work with normal people? And I was like, the reason that people think that is simply because we put a lot of comp prep pictures out, because comp prep pictures sell. Because it looks better taking somebody from A right through to shredded. But then this is like what we're going to talk about in a minute with my recent transition, is because what is better to somebody, like on Instagram, it looks better for, like, you see my most recent transformation, and like what your transformation is going to be this year is going to look better for likes and interaction on Instagram. It will look better, but then you got to think which is better, because some people might think that the 34-year-old dad of two who runs a business, pays his bills and manages a family and manages his fitness goals around his life, and he's dropped from a 38 waist to a 30-inch waist and is happier, healthier, but he's still got some fat on him, but he's not shredded, he's not stage shredded. Some people might look at that transformation and think, it's all right, but or they might look and think it's amazing. Do you know what I mean? But either way, your transformation, my transformation, is going to look more. It's going to look better on the eye. What I'm trying to say. Yeah. But which one is actually better? Because that client there, if that's your client that you've just transformed, they're going to run to the hills and they're going to fucking scream your name, and your client base is going to grow rapidly. Do you know what I mean? So
I mean, it's all about relatability, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, when we put out contest prep content, like we 10 weeks out or 9 weeks out, 8 weeks out, comparing photos, like putting up old stage shots, etc., we are naturally going to attract people that want to do the same, that relate to us and can see the dedication, can see that we have a routine, that we train day in, day out, and we take structured rest when we need to, but we don't tend to, as competitors, have these flaky weeks that general population might have more frequently, because we can't afford to have a flaky week, and it doesn't really come it's like second nature to us to not do that. So
Yeah.
I think that we naturally attract those kind of people. So I think if you're a PT, especially, that's like, I think the mistake that I made in the past when I was doing general population PT, I wouldn't put enough weight in providing content that reaches the people that I want to relate to and that I want to reach. And, you know, the way that your content is going to transition now, I imagine, will be primarily focusing on getting some more fitness, some more health-related content out there that will be targeting these people that obviously you still want to work with comp prep people because you're passionate about that and you can tell you're passionate about that. But at the same time, you want to reach the people that are in it just for the health benefits and the fitness benefits of living this lifestyle. So, you know, I think it's easy when you look back on things. Like I said, I made mistakes initially, but with my content and the way that I put it out, because I was all bodybuilding. I was like bodybuilding, but I had like 1 or 2 bodybuilding clients. And at that stage, I wasn't really going to grow that because I wasn't at a point where I had the confidence to sort of take on board a whole realm of bodybuilding clients from bikini to bodybuilding. Like now I feel very confident in doing that. I'll get on a consult and I'll be very confident in telling them exactly what approach we're going to be doing, exactly what's going to get them in the best position, and exactly how we're going to move forward. Like I'm very confident with that. But in the past, I'd be like I don't know what to do. And did you find that when you initially worked with comp prep clients?
Yeah, I mean, like what you just said there relates back to what you said earlier. You feel confident now because you know it. It's something that you know. If you were taking on somebody who wanted to do a powerlift meet and things, and exactly. But if you want to try and blag it, like you said, you'd wither. You'd questions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because comp preps, kind of your niche as well. It's a percentage of your niche. It's something that you are actually passionate about, exactly like me.
Sure.
It's like this conversation right now. It flows. It's passion. It's just easy. And then when you portray that to a client, they just want to invest because they want to be a part of it. Yeah, exactly. So, I forget to mention the payment schemes for my own business to clients because I get that caught up in telling them what we're going to do. I'm literally this, that, and then like, so how much? I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. But like you said, there's a plan of action there set in place, but I still want to do that. And the topic that we're going to discuss today is nothing negative towards bodybuilding or competition prep. It's just negative towards my own approach this year. And it's basically saying now when I do it, and when I prep people for it, I won't be as hardcore as what I once thought I was. And that's just the old school hoodie on, 1 hour on the Stairmaster, no one's out work me kind of mentality. Do you know what I mean? And it just
squeeze
doesn't have
the glutes on every step as well.
Yeah, squeeze the glutes, yeah. But and I want to be more relatable to day-to-day people as well. That's something that I am finding now, and it is different for me, but I just basically want to be fit and be healthy and do whatever I want. Whereas before, when I was pursuing bodybuilding, like I wouldn't go on a run because I'd think, nah, it's not effective on my knees during squats, and I'll lose muscle and it's expenditure. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I can't do boxing; it's too much hit, my calorie intake. Like I'd look into it so anally that it just doesn't need to be like that. Like I could have been doing all these things that I'm wanting to do now without this big transition years ago. I'd have just simply needed to compensate for it, whether it be rest days or calorie intake, something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so let's get stuck into this. Like, take me back to... I want to know your mindset. So take me back to the start of this comp prep. Tell me what you were like and tell me sort of what your goals were. And how bodybuilding focused were you at the start of this prep?
Yeah, so I've always been bodybuilding focused. Ever since my first prep, I kind of made that mindset.
Okay.
And, like it was just a transition. I can't even describe it. Everybody who's done prep, I feel they will go through a mindset like transition. It'll just change their lifestyle. What I believe to be positive, because you'll unlock a level of your mind that you didn't think that you were capable of, and that's
so true.
Yeah, so since 2013, I've kind of always been like that, and I've always trained whether it be a bro split, single body parts, or push pull legs. I've done Lane Norton's fat program. I've done everything from Poliquin, PICP. I've tried numerous training cycles. So I've always trained like a bodybuilder with the goal to progress.
Sure.
I've always done what we'd consider contest prep then off season, contest prep then off season. So I've always been like basically blowing up and cutting down, blowing up and cutting down.
Was that every year, or did you ever have like a one year off at all?
I competed in 2014.
Okay.
So 2013, 2014, 2015, I dieted down and decided to pull out of my show for the WBFF because I was lower than stage weight the year before. So I was like, I've literally made no progress in my off season. All I've done is basically, I'll dig a picture out, I'll post it, and all I did was eat in excess, train, and get heavy. But then all that happened was prep was harder because my leanest areas became fat, and then my fattest areas were even fatter. So trying to get that off, I was just chronically inflamed, and I ended up dieting down to the extent where I even started to lose tissue. So then I kind of, after the back of that, I didn't rebound, so to speak. I just basically had like, I think it was, 2015, May 2015 to now 2017 that I'd not prepped. And that was just my own decision. I just felt that my mindset wasn't ready. I didn't feel the need to compete.
Sure.
I felt that disciplined, or what was the LPT online, was growing without me having aesthetics and abs. Like, people are now paying me to get them results off the back of my knowledge, which that was another big thing for me as well, because I thought I don't need to be in stage condition all year round now, because I can prove that I can get people results, and I've basically done nothing. So I found my passion in coaching kind of thing, and I just let that like overtake for a while. And then I met Dominique late 2016 and 2017. I just felt in a good position. I'd done a few months with Jordan, and I was like, you know what, I'm in a good position. I'm growing. I'm quite lean. Let's spend the next 12 weeks seeing what I can do. And I just felt like my mindset needed that push. I need to feel like, see what I'm made of kind of thing. I need to commit myself to something and just see it out. So I was like, right, you know what, prep. Going into prep, my relationship with food was very good, very relaxed. I always eat healthy, but sure. I wouldn't panic about food or anything like that kind of thing. And if me and Dom wanted to go out with food, I'd go out with food, and I wouldn't hesitate as to what I would order or anything like that. So my relationship with food was very strong, which I feel is something that people do need going into prep. And then I started prep, and I was like, Dom, you know what, I'm going to start prep. When I do this, we'll keep a weekly date night in. We'll keep it relaxed. Like, I'll do it. I won't be like I used to. And then that kind of just went out the window. That was it.
That felt like shit.
Literally, honestly. And I sit here smiling about it now, and I can, because I just think I didn't need to do all those things. I could have still kept that date night in. Jordan would have let me keep that date night in as well if I spoke to him about it. But my mindset just literally just switched, and I was like, every meal was on the gram. Every meal was on time. Every training session was 2 p.m. Pre-workout was 1 p.m. Do you know what I mean? Like, every session was nailed. Like, there was nights where, like, I'd even say to Dom, like, I'd just go home and eat. I wouldn't even speak to her because I'd not hit a PB in the gym like 6 weeks out. I'd not progressed the lift, and I'd be at home. I'd be like, shit, like, nah, that something's up. And I'd be right. Is it sleep? Is it stress? And I was just looking into things so inward that I was like beating myself up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But obviously this isn't portrayed on social media. They just see the positives. But it's not something that people need to do either. Like, what was the benefit of me doing that, like, to myself? So
you try your best.
Exactly. And I'm not being funny. I'm not the strongest, but the lift's 3 plates on a bench press for like I was looking for 12. So it's not really a shit lift, to be honest.
No, not
Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, things got quite tough, and I just made it harder than it needed to be, AJ. Honestly, it's just as simple as that. And coming off the back of it, I only realised how hard I made it. Simple things like I could do so much in my day. One day a week I train my training session to a morning, because then the rest of the day we could do something as simple as going chest to zoo. But no. I have to train at 2. You don't understand. I don't give a shit if I'm in the middle of a zoo. I am training at 2. Like my pre-workout, my macro timing is set up for pre, intra, post, and then whatnot off there. So I just got really anal. And then it just kind of opened up my eyes, and I just thought, you know what, I don't need to be like this, and I don't want to see other people make the sacrifices that I've done through this, because there's thousands of other people prepping right now, and they've not done it as poor as what I've done it.
It is so easy to turn into someone that is very anal about things and just want to like nail. And I think this is something that we put out on social media. We talk about variables. I did a video on variables. I think that the pressure on managing these variables is extremely high, because if you want to be the best, you have got to have some control over these variables. You know that for the most part, if you do that session at 2 p.m, yes, it'll probably be a better session than doing it in the morning. You just know that. You know that in the deepest part of your prep brain, that if you do that session in the morning, it will be affected. But at the same time, you can do it in the morning, and the results of doing that one session in the morning will just be like, it's just a slight little bit of a diminished result in terms of that 1 week or that one session.
Exactly.
So it's such a small piece of the puzzle of like a huge puzzle of prep. Something that I'm quite interested in, especially as you've worked with so many coaches throughout the years, Dusty, Jamie, etc. So as much as you can open up about it, how did the prep differ with Jordan, and was there anything that was sort of significantly changed in terms of perhaps meal timing, nutrient timing, or the approach with calories, cardio, etc., that was sort of slightly different to any other coaches you've had before?
This comes back to what we said earlier about when we work with coaches, we expand our mindsets, we expand our knowledge, and we nitpick things that we like, and we apply it to our own coaching. Yep. And when I worked with Jordan, we had a few months off season, and everyone knows that Jordan likes bagels and squares bars post workout. So absolutely. that were kind of the norm to me. But things that I like with Jordan, it was don't get me wrong, it was the best experience I've had. Like, and it was so relaxed, which I found quite hard sometimes, because I was like, you're so relaxed in prep, I don't understand. Like, I want to be this relaxed as well, but I'm so anal. Like you said, we put the pressure on ourselves to perform. Like, again, it comes down to social media in a sense, because eyes are on us. That, like, Daniel Luke can't rock up to a show looking fat. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is pressure, and I should. And really, I just wanted to commit myself. I just wanted to be the best that I could be, and commit myself to that goal each day in, day out, whether that be progressing a lift, hitting meal timings, doing everything that I could. But obviously that doesn't, I wasn't aware of the things that were doing around me. But with Jordan, things sometimes didn't make sense, like pulling cardio out 2 weeks out. To me, I was like, Jordan, what's happening? Why are we doing this? Yeah. But then I started to progress, drop weight and get leaner.
Wow.
Like simple things like having mayo as a fat sauce. Like, to me, that blew my mind. I had mayo and pesto, and I'd be like saying to Dom, like, why am I eating mayo and pesto? I don't understand, because I'd look at a fat sauce and I'd never think of those two. I'd be looking at like an avocado, for example, or a feta cheese, or a type of cheese if we're going down that route. So things were a little bit different, and I mean, can we talk drugs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Obviously, Jordan's known for his drug knowledge and whatnot, and the thing that surprised me about Jordan is when he helped me, not helped me so to speak, when advised, it was lower than anything that I'd ever done it before.
Cool.
So
that's good.
Jordan had me on less than any other previous coach and whatnot. Nice. And yeah, like the reason that I made this transition, so to speak, it was like, it's nothing against Jordan or prep or anything. It was just literally my own personal decision. So it's nothing like negative towards like Jordan or anybody, because like I said, it was the best prep I had. Yeah. And then going into the show was a little bit different as well. I'll just mention that briefly. Peak week, like on the day, food sources were just like salts and fats and things, and it was like, again, completely different, but I was getting drier into the show.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah, and then I'm looking around me. To be honest, my mindset was kind of relaxed at this point, because I was just like, it is what it is now. But I'm looking around, I'm seeing guys drinking whiskey and like have mouthfuls of honey and jelly babies and shit. And I'm just, Yeah. So I'd done the load before that. I was just looking to maintain and keep dry and keep that waist tight.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's
Cool.
it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, so it's always nice to see an insight, and obviously I think listeners to this podcast and myself like follow Jordan quite religiously through his social medias and through what he puts out, which is all awesome stuff. And obviously, like you said, his knowledge definitely does again lie in drug. Like a lot of his knowledge will lie in drug protocols, and a lot of the content on his site is relative to that. And if on the odd occasion that I'll get an athlete inquire that is an enhanced athlete, which I always double check. So I will send them away because simply I just don't have the knowledge to be able to deal with that. Whilst you can sort of structure nutrition and training in a way that will still work, you need someone to advise safe protocols for that. That's what I always advise. But yeah, interesting. So Dan, coming up like to now, like what's going on? Like where's your mindset at now? Obviously, you just finished your show, and there's a lot of things going on with regards to where you're going to be moving forward. So what's the plan, and why have you chosen to take this new route?
Right. I'll just briefly mention the post that I put on Instagram yesterday, which caused quite a lot of interaction. And it was basically... So I just posted a picture of me on stage saying, "Are you sure you want to aspire to be like this?" Now, just give me a few minutes because I'm going to tell you basically what caused me to make this transition.
Okay.
And where I look to see myself going forward and whatnot.
Sure.
So going forward, I still want to help people get results and compete, no doubt. But I just want to maybe baby their psychological state throughout the process a little bit better, as opposed to just be man the fuck up, preps hard, get going. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like I want to be there from that little bit more. And even this past week, I've got guys in prep, and I've had a guy this week come back from a judge, and he's done a posing session, and apparently he's too lean, too dry for physique. And I'm just like, well, what's the point in dieting? Like, and it sent his head, like, it was just upset about it. Obviously, he's invested a lot of time into getting lean. He was then thinking, oh, I'm not going to do anything. So like, it was just a bit beat up. Sure. So normally, as opposed to a WhatsApp or an email, oh, crack on, you're all right. I just took the time out to voice note him, and literally his mood, his mindset, everything elevated. And literally just those 2 minutes, if I can do that for X amount of clients that I've got, then it'll just make their prep a little bit easier. And it just comes down to what I'm going to get into now, which is basically, I put on a picture on Instagram one day, AJ, and I had so much interaction from it where people reached out to me and they were like, Dan, you look sick. Oh my God, like you put so much muscle on, like from the last time I'd seen me, you look so good. And that day, Dominique took the picture, and then she went back to live at her mum's for a few days.
Okay.
Simply because I was just being a prick during prep. I was tired. I was moody. I wasn't showing any affection towards Dom. I was just secluding myself from friends. I trained with Josh a lot. I wouldn't answer my phone to Josh. And I was just in a mental state where I just wanted to be alone because no one understands me, what I'm doing. And I'm doing this show, and this is the only thing that matters right now. I'm getting on this stage, and I'm going to do this and that. Like,
unhealthy relationship.
Exactly. And like food was fine. Again, I just thought nobody understands me kind of thing. And it were only until people started messaging me like saying, oh, like they were just so like they wanted to be like it, like they aspired to be. I was like, I don't want to be putting this message out there. Like, I won't lie. Like, I was just bored of pumping like 2 shots a week. Like, I'm just thinking, like, I just want to get off. Like, I'm fucking done. I'm beat up. I'm sore as shit. Like, I can't be arsed doing this. Like, my girlfriend's going back to stay at her mum's because I'm being a prick. I've not spoke to any friends. I can't remember the last time that I went out for a social meal or drink or something like that, whether it be non-alcoholic or alcoholic. I just secluded myself. And what I need to get out there now is those were all like repercussions of my decisions. Sure. Prep doesn't have to be like that, and it really doesn't. There's so many people out there now prepping that maintain a healthy relationship with a partner. They maintain healthy relationships at work with their clients, and that's another thing. Like, I was getting so irritable that like clients like responses and just the services that we're providing to people. I was just like, this is just not like seriously. It was just a big step back for me, and I just said, I don't want to portray this message that's false, that people think that they can achieve it or they want to achieve it when really they don't know what's going on.
Sure.
So I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna be what I want to see the biggest in the world. Like what is the biggest change? I want to see people fit, healthy, happy, like feeling better in themselves. Because that's originally what I got into PT for. Like that's what I was passionate about. Then somehow down the line, I've ended up. Yeah, exactly. And I love competition prep. I fucking love it. When a guy checks in or a bikini girl checks in and they're like, and they're on point, I'm like, literally, we're going to clear up. Like, I love this.
Yeah.
But I also get great satisfaction out from just general day-to-day people who checking in with me or leaving one-to-one sessions and just feeling happy and confident in themselves. And their relationship with food, like, is good. Like, they're not doing excessive cardio to warrant a cheat meal and things like that. Do you know what I mean? And another thing was, I put another post about, I'm good at getting results, but I was thinking, how sustainable is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, comp prep's really good, but am I educating people enough? And this is the thing that you do really well. You put good content out there, you know, with the comparisons and whatnot. And I was thinking, all these plans, weighed food, weighed this, weighed that. I had a client message me saying, "Oh, I'm eating out," and she was panicking, like she didn't know what to do. And then I had another one who went to Tesco's, and she was like, "Facebook messaging me, I'm in Tesco's now. What can I eat? What can I eat?" And I was just like, I need to get these guys to the level where they can walk into a supermarket or restaurant and make any decision that they want, knowing that it's either good nutritional value, or if they do decide to have something out at a restaurant, they need to know how to compensate for it within their week so that they can then progress. Absolutely. But yeah, it was just that picture that made my transition. So now it goes back to what we said at the start of the podcast. If I want to do boxing, I want to do boxing without any pressure of not thinking that it's catabolic towards my muscle tissue. Yeah. If I want to go on a run, I want to go on a run. And again, this is all my own. It's all my own doing, basically, because I've neglected stretching and mobility as well, which is why I do struggle doing. Like, I can squat 4.5 plates for reps. Yeah, fine. But putting a pair of socks on is fucking hard. Do you know what I mean? I went to a yoga class on Sunday just to see what it was like after a leg session. So I did a leg session, no problem, literally. Leg press stacked, 50 kilo dumbbell squats for 20s. Easy.
Nice.
Yoga, could not hold a position or cross my legs on the fucking floor. And I was just like, I just wanted to feel better in myself, because sometimes I just do feel a little uncomfortable.
Sure.
And yeah, that's pretty much my decision. So I just basically wanted to be fit and do what I wanted to do. I want to be more mobile, agile, fit. I don't just want to look it. I actually want to be it. Like I want people to look at me and think, fucking hell, he's shredded, or he has got a good physique. And then if they say to me, "Oh, do you want to do a CrossFit class?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Do you want to do a boxing class?" I'm like, "Yeah." But whereas before it would be, I won't, like, now I'm on holiday. Me and Dom are going to do a bodyweight workout, like film it like some IG couple shit and film it on the beach and be like, Baywatch.
Can't fucking wait for that.
You asked me to do that 6 months ago or a year ago. If it wasn't a gym, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
like,
you'd be scared to put it out as well, I get.
Exactly. But what's really to be scared of? Because you might not appreciate it. You probably won't give a fuck about it. But someone might see it and be like, "Oh, you know what? Like,
I could do that on holiday, yeah.
Yeah, or I've got kids in. Yeah, nice one, squats."
Yeah.
I just want to relate to more people, and I think, like, what we've both got in common, what anybody with our passion has in common, is we want to help as many people as we possibly can.
Yeah, you'll hit a broader market with that as well, because if you think about the population that bodybuild like us, it's so small, it's minute comparative to the people that are just dedicated like us, but they just want a result. They don't want to step on stage. They want to do the dedication that's required to do that. And if they go on holiday, they want to do a bodyweight workout. They don't want to necessarily go in and beat the fucking logbook in the hotel gym. You know?
Exactly. And that's something that, like, does excite me. And from a business point of view, like you just said, it is a bigger market, but it's something that I've not even thought about. I just want to relate to more people and just
Sure.
help more people. Like, I had this conversation with Dominique's friend the other day, and I was like, "What do normal people eat?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, what are you going home to have for tea tonight?" And she was like, "Oh, well, we're gonna do we've got Joe Wicks's book, and we're gonna do like a healthy spag bol, and she's using 5% mince, and she's using pasta and some." And I was just
Eight
like,
tablespoons of coconut oil.
"Yeah, well, yeah, without all that." But I'm like you. I'm like routine based. Like everything. Like I love routine. And
Yeah.
if someone said to me, "What you eating at tea time?" I'd be like, "Tea time? What time?"
Yeah.
5 o'clock. I'd be like, "Meal five. Oh, I've got
Meal
200
six.
gram of meat, the lean mince. I've got 200 gram of sweet potato." Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's my life, and I'm not used to it. So it's kind of fun to see what normal people are actually doing and how I can apply that and how I can make things healthier and how they can relate to me and how I can help them kind of thing as well. So
Yeah. And
going forward, it's
go for it.
just just what I said, just doing what I want when I want and just being healthy and enjoying it. And I think the post about me deciding not to take anabolics anymore is it's nothing negative. It's just personally what I want right now. I know people who do so and do so effectively and safely.
Yeah.
There's nothing like if there's anybody watching this podcast from the outside who doesn't know anything, then their stereotype of it might be like, oh no, it's like, do you know what I mean? It's just generally like when something's on ITV news, oh, man got mad because taking testosterone or something like. But yeah, when really it's not like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can be done safely and in moderation, but right now it's not what I want. It's not where I see myself going in the future, doing something in the future. So I made the decision and I put it out there, just being honest, because again, like I don't want someone coming to me thinking, "Dan, I want to be like you," and I say, "Look, well, we need a year." And then they're like, "No, I haven't got a year," because their perception of me is that they can look like me if they just buy a 12-week package, when really I've been using anabolics for X amount of time.
Yeah.
So it's a touchy subject to speak about, and but I just thought it's something I need to put out there, to be honest, AJ. So
I
yeah,
think the interesting thing, mate, is we'll be seeing over the coming months and even maybe years is how you progress, because
yeah,
I know, and from experience with doing bodybuilding preps, your feelings and your emotions right now are extremely heightened by the fact that you've just gone through this process, you've just had all the shitstorm, you've just sort of developed this relationship with bodybuilding that is to some extent now negative and that feels a bit like wrong or a bit weak and a bit of a bad relationship with bodybuilding. What I like, and I know that you're so passionate about bodybuilding, so I will be very interested to follow your journey moving forward and how long you go with this idea of wanting to make people fit and healthy and wanting to sort of like reach out to a broader market, because
yeah,
I think what I find in coaches that I really like is the idea of never being afraid to eat your own words and never being afraid to sort of like change your mind or change tone. So like if you going in this direction is very, very cool. I think it's very commendable of you to sort of take the plunge and do this and sort of put that out on social media as what is quite a sort of a controversial post. And what I'd like, some people would hate it if in 6 months' time you said, "I'm getting back on stage," or "I'm doing this again." That some people would hate that, but I'd find no issues with that. Like me as a coach, I like it when people say, "Actually, I'm in a better place now. I've thought about my decisions, and actually, I want to do this again because I've got away from these heightened feelings of post bodybuilding prep feels." Because we all know that when we finish a show, we feel really, really odd, and sometimes we do really odd things. Like I can massively relate because I used to be heavily involved in motorsport, and during my first comp prep, at the end of it, all I was doing was thinking about motorsport and thinking about racing again. That's all I was doing, is because and at the end of it, I didn't want to really train or in the way that I was training at the time. I was literally started to become obsessed with motorsport again, I haven't had that. Like the second prep that I didn't have it. This prep, I haven't got it. I'll be very open and honest. I'm pretty obsessed with the process of bodybuilding, and I would say that I need to be careful and I need to listen to people like you in regards to pushing people away, because it becomes so easy to do that. I'm in a position where I am single now, and I don't have that pressure to sort of keep someone else very happy as well. But I do have to keep in mind that I live at home, I live with a family, and I need to make sure that I'm not being just a guy that eats, sleeps and trains and lives with his mum and dad.
Yeah.
You know, I need to be someone that actually is a part of the household. So, mate, I think everything that you've raised, everything we talked about in this podcast has been epic. I don't think I've ever had a podcast like this when we've gone so fluid back and forth. I think we're very much like-minded people, and I'd like to sort of give you a chance to sort of mention anything else that you'd like to mention with regards to what we talked about, and also just leave the listeners with where they can follow you, both through Facebook, Instagram, perhaps where you're most active or where you're most pushing content at the moment, so they know exactly where you're at. And and then we'll leave it there, mate.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for having me on, AJ. Like I said, I just looked at the clock, actually. We're 9 minutes in, but it literally feels like when something's going back and forth, when you talk about something that you're passionate about, it's so fluent, it's just easy to get lost.
Yeah.
Only thing I will say, really, before I get about where people can reach me and whatnot, is I will still bodybuild, just not to the extent where it'll be detrimental. Like, if I, don't get me wrong, you will see me at Strength Asylum trying to beat PBs on deadlift, because anything I do, I want to apply myself to and progress it. You know, I went to a weightlifting class and did a CrossFit class, and the competitive edge within me and the coach was teaching me, I was just literally like a sponge, and it was exciting to learn something else as well, because this is not my field. I'm literally the new guy. I'm seeing guys at 100 50 pounds lighter than me beat me on lifts and things, and I'm like, shit. So that's kind of exciting, but at the same time, definitely the bodybuilding element will still be in there. It's just the freedom to do something else, which is not something I've really given myself before, and that's, again, my own personal choice kind of thing. Yeah, because I've just kind of been the hardcore guy, but no, I get what you're saying, and I don't see it going that way personally. But I said, if I did decide to compete again, literally, I've always kind of done what I want and when I wanted anyway. So I'd kind of just basically just throw it out there and say, look, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to manage it a lot better than what I did in 2017 or whatnot, something like that. And then relating back to you, like you said, I know you got your switch off points and Netflix and things like that. That shit's important, man. That shit's important. But if you want to reach out to me, my Instagram is Disciplined by Daniel Luke. That is also my Facebook page's name, and my new website, which launches in what I hope to be this coming Monday, is discipline.fit. And I created an ebook earlier this year. The later end of last year, called Disciplined, and that was a downloadable ebook, PDF to your phone, and basically everybody who visits the website will be able to download that for free as well. So I'm just going to give that away as a little celebratory gift or whatever. I don't know what that word is. But yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. I just want to say thank you for having me on, AJ. I've been wanting to get on this for time. I've told Dominique about it. I'm a big fan of your content, so if I don't get more views than JP, I will be pissed. But
you've had a tough one to beat.
I know, you've had such good names on here. I think the Justin Harris one is still my favourite, I'll be honest.
Oh, okay.
Love Justin Harris one. Love the guy. But yeah, no, it's a pleasure to be on, buddy, and I'm looking forward to catching up soon.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. I loved it. I knew immediately when I got you on, I knew that this was just going to be a cool chat. And mate, I'll be upfront and honest with you, and honest with the guests. For every single other podcast I've done, I've had questions or structure. This one I've had nothing. I knew I wouldn't even need it. I knew I don't even need questions with you, because I knew that we're so like-minded that we just go back and forth, and it's been exactly that. So no, mate, it's been awesome. I hope people love this, and to be fair to Dom, I'll get you and Dom back on for a double episode at some point.
That'd be wicked.
We'll go into some coaching details on female versus male or something like that, which will be really interesting. But guys, listeners, thanks very much for tuning in. I hope that you follow us both on our own journeys moving forward, wherever we go. And also, if you can, subscribe for future content if you're on YouTube. That really, really helps. And the channel's growing massively, which is awesome to see. So I'd like to thank everyone for the support, either for the podcast or my sort of daily videos, informative videos as well, and the vlogs. And if you're on iTunes, I would massively appreciate a review. I think we've got 18 or 19 reviews. So if you leave one in between now and the next episode, I'll love you lots for that. And give it a like if you're on YouTube, and ask us any questions in the comments section. So if you have questions for me or Dan, we'll get back to them. And yeah, guys, thanks very much. Thanks, Dan. And see you guys in the next episode. Cheers, Dan.
Thank you. Cheers, bud.